Hi, I'm Britta with GalleyChix, and today we are at Netarts Bay with my friend Ben Jacobsen, creator, harvester of the first Oregon sea salt since Lewis and Clark.
Yes, ma'am.
The explorers back in the late 1800s. Today we're going to find out how he harvests sea salt, what he does with it, what he's creating, why he's doing it. How did you start harvesting sea salt?
I started harvesting salt just really for fun as a hobby, much as a lot of people in Portland or elsewhere brew beer as a hobby or make wine. I wanted to try and figure out how to make great salt because it was really, really easy to make bad salt. It was being done in places like the UK with obviously a very similar climate to Oregon.
Right.
And so I thought it must not be a function of temperature or humidity, but it must just be a function of process. So that's what kind of got me more and more curious.
Did you do it trial and error, or how did it come about? Are you a science guy, or?
I'm not nearly smart enough to be a science guy. It was literally trial and error, dozens and dozens of batches before I figured out how to make good salt. And once I figured out how to make good salt, I tested more than 25 spots along the Oregon and Washington coast. Now I want to make sure we have the best raw material that I can find. So this is Netarts Bay, and this is the spit that separates us from the Pacific Ocean. Netarts Bay is the water quality, in my opinion, is some of the best on the Oregon coast. And it's that kind of raw material input that we get a great salt out of.
And isn't Netarts Bay known for being a great bay for oysters and the most pristine waters?
Yeah, we're really lucky. And it really goes back to those three main drivers of taste, texture, and color. With the bay, 85% of Netarts Bay is refreshed on a tidal basis. But then when it comes in, it's washed over the entire sandy bed of Netarts Bay, which acts like a big sand filter. By the time it reaches us, it can be quite nice.
And so the water just comes straight up to your
The water comes
facility.
straight up, and we have holding tanks that actually the oyster farm used to have, so we didn't have to purchase those, which is perfect. All the water is filtered before it comes into the room, and obviously this tank needs cleaning before we actually put water into it again. Water is boiled, and then to remove the volume and to remove a lot of the calcium and the magnesium that give a lot of salts a very bitter taste, whereas our salt has a very kind of clean, briny taste. We pour the brine into, transfer the brine into these large evaporation pans, and what happens is salt crystals form on the surface of the brine, and they become more dense than the brine that they're sitting in, and then they precipitate to the bottom of the pan. And then once a few inches of salt crystals have collected, we harvest those out of the pan with the kitchen tool, drain them, and then we dry them. We go into our dehydration room, and it's basically a large dehumidifier that's quite warm. This is salt that's in process, and it's just beautiful, flaky. It has the appearance of shaved ice almost.
Yeah, it's incredible, all the facets.
Yeah.
So after it's all dried, then you package it.
Yeah, after
here.
it's all dried, we actually sort it because we have different grades of salt that are produced in the process, and then we grade it and then sort it and then package it.
Great to finally see the whole process after having known you from doing demos and things. And before I leave, I made something. I want to bring it out and we'll try it with your salt.
Oh, I can't wait.
All right.
That sounds great.
So I told you I brought something to try with your salt, and while we were on our way here in the car, we made some butter. A really easy way to make butter. Just pour heavy cream in a jar. You just shake it. It takes 20 minutes, and then you have butter. We're just pairing it with. You can put it on radishes. That's kind of a traditional way to eat radishes, is with butter and sea salt, or on baguette.
That sounds perfectly simple, which is perfect.
Should we make some?
Absolutely. Would you like some salt?
I would.
It's perfect. It's that you get the acid from the radish, a little bit of bitterness, and then the fat from the butter, and
Then
so
the
creamy,
salt
and then the salt. It's
tops
awesome.
it all off. Perfect. And simple.
Delicious. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having us. This was so fun. You can find all of these recipes and a whole lot more if you'll just check us out online.